Hey, beautiful beings. Today, I'm gonna speak about death and how to overcome the fear or anxiety of dying. Someone posted this request, so let's speak about this because when we don't speak about it, we feel this underlying anxiety. It's actually at every problem that we have, at the very root of it is the fear of death, because we live with this, the person lives in the imaginary timeline, a storyline, and there is a imaginary deadline to it. And because we don't know when and how it happens, that's why the fear is just so consuming. But anxiety actually is a bit different than fear, because anxiety is more hidden, it's more underneath, and it really influences our choices. So today I'm gonna simply give you 3 questions to ask yourself. I know most people don't even want to think about it, they don't want to speak about it. It's just something that's so unthinkable. We don't know how to deal with it, we are afraid. And again, it's this fear. Fear always is it's imagined, it has nothing to do with reality, because there is no way of knowing. And today you're gonna discover that actually death is not an experience. You cannot experience it because there's nobody there to experience it. But I'm not here today to just give you some ideas. I'm gonna give you 3 questions, and you can ask yourself these questions yourself and really look with me to discover something interesting, something that will help you to ease this fear that eventually you might end. So the first question I would ask is, when do you feel the fear of death? Because you don't feel scared of dying all the time. There is certain times when the thoughts just come and we think about it and we are scared and we don't know how to prepare for this. So do you feel scared of dying when you are having fun and you feel joyful? Or do you feel scared of dying when you are feeling more depressed? There is just things are not going really well, or they're not going according to expectations. Just ask yourself this, and perhaps you will discover that we don't think, or we don't have that fear of dying when we feel joyful and alive and when we have fun. So is it really fear of death that you're experiencing, or is it actually fear of life? Fear of aliveness, to feel fully alive, to be fully alive. The second question I would ask about the fear of death is, how do you know that you will die? How do you know? And I don't mean, well, you've read all these books and you've heard other stories and maybe you've seen things. Like really look, like in your direct experience, without those stories, without anything that the mind tells you, without all this research perhaps that you read about near-death experience, even without your past experience. Perhaps you had some near-death experience before. So without that, how do you know you will die? And this is a very deep question. You can spend a lot of time on this, and essentially it will lead you to ask yourself also, how do you know that you were born? And again, you can go deeper into that and you can go, well, I mean, what kind of question is this? Of course I was born. I was born in this country and my passport proves it. And again, for that information, you have to go into your mind, into your thoughts, into the story. There is no proof whatsoever as you are in now, in simply this. There's no proof that you were ever born. It's a story. And it's the same as, oh, my dog is here. Oh, it's time to feed her. Hey Keshu, kde máš místečko? Go? No, Keshu, I know, Poopy, I'm talking about dying, so Keshu, I know, I'm so sorry, I'm gonna give you something in a moment. Čup, kde máš místo? So this question is very deep, how do you know? It's really something that you can investigate and really look. Because when you look long enough, you will never find any evidence, any direct evidence. But this can be a little bit too much. So that's why I'm going to also give you the third question. A third question can be a little bit easier and can really ease this fear, this anxiety about dying. And of course, we can go so much deeper into this. As I said, this is such a huge problem for the person. It's just such a big topic. And if you want to read about it more, there is more in my book, How to Achieve Nothing, in which I talk specifically about the personal timeline. You can look at yours. You can extract the formula and really plug it in to see that it's completely deceptive for yourself. And most importantly, I talk about purpose and death and all these things that we believe. And once you question them, the fear and the beliefs just collapse, or it's recognized that it's never been real in the first place. And this illusion has to look very convincing to convince you that you are this separate poor person who is coming from somewhere and is going somewhere. It has a mission to do, and eventually it will die. And you don't know when, and you don't know how, and this brings this anxiety. So it's just something to question. And I know this can be very difficult. So I'm gonna bring you this third question to ask yourself that might ease this fear of dying. And the third question is, can you really be afraid of something that you can't experience? Can you really be afraid of something that you cannot experience? So for example, if I told you, hey, tomorrow, this horrendous sound is coming in town. It's the worst sound you've ever heard. It's very painful, but you won't be able to experience. It's not for human ears. And so would you be scared of this horrendous sound? You will just have to imagine what would that be like. But if there is no actual experience, there is really nothing to be afraid of, because you can't experience it. In the same way, this is all about dying. Once you die, or the self dies, and it really doesn't happen in the future. It's not a linear process. In a way, this is already death. The self-image, or the you that you believe yourself to be, is just imagined. It really is just imagined, but it's so convincing. But it's the only way for you, as the unlimited, infinite being, to experience anything. Because in your natural state, there is no experience. So we experience through the stories, through this imaginary person that we believe that we are. I remember once I had a dream, and in that dream, a house caught on fire, and I ran out, and then I woke up. It is like asking, well, what happened to all these people? It just doesn't matter. It was a dream. I cannot be afraid of something that I cannot experience. So there is something else going on. And if you keep asking yourself these three questions, you might start getting into a little bit closer to what is true, away from what is imagined, to really come a little bit closer, to awaken to what you truly are, that which is birthless and deathless, that which is just the simplicity, the spontaneity of this. And with this also comes the invention of death and life. And actually life is simply this, and it doesn't have any opposite. Birth and death are opposites, and as such they live as a story. They're just appearances. Life has no opposite. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions or any wondering is happening in your mind about this topic, or if you have any ideas, share them with us in the comments. and I will see you in my next video.